back to Making Finances Sexy. I am your host for short, aka the Red Queen. Come down the rabbit hole with me. I'm a realtor here in the Phoenix Valley, as well as CEO of Critical Luxury and a financial consultant. It is my mission to help you fire your boss, live your dream lifestyle, and take charge of your finances. And of course, joining me is the wonderful Miss Jessica Lay.
Hey guys, my name's Jessica, your Rent Rave own realtor and certified instructor with the company 101 Financial. I'm making it my mission to assist you in moving out of renting and into homeownership, no matter your situation. I'm ready to be your personal finance coach and first-time home buyer specialist. And
Sexy.
today, yeah. And today we're talking about money stress in relationships, which is a big deal. I looked up an article online today, and money is widely known as one of the leading causes of divorce in America. It's estimated that financial problems contribute to about 20 to 40% of all divorces. So that means for every 10 marriages that end in divorce, 4 of them is because of money.
I believe it. Money is a big stressor for a lot of people, and a lot of people don't have a good relationship with money in general. And if you pair that with not being able to communicate properly in a relationship with other people, then it just snowballs into a lot of negativity.
Yep, absolutely. We already know, well, with 101 Financial, how hard it is for people to actually want to have that conversation about their personal finances and what they spend their money on or aren't spending their money on and things of that nature. But money is such a important commodity in our lives. We got to pay rent, we got to pay mortgage, we got to pay for food, groceries. Everything in our life is money oriented. So why not talk about it and make your situations better personally and in your relationship? So one of the big things is there's an inability to compromise usually in relationships on spending and their personal finances. So one spouse could be the spender and one could be the saver. That causes a lot of tension and strain in a relationship, obviously, because if one person is spending all the money and you're not, of course, that's going to frustrate you and you're going to get pretty angry towards the person spending all the money because they're enjoying it more so than you are, essentially, and you're just trying to save for if it's buying a house or just you're investing in your future, but the other one's not on board with that, then maybe you shouldn't be in a relationship.
Yeah, or you need to have those kind of conversations from the get-go, right? You don't want to be spending years in a relationship with someone that you're never going to have aligned goals with. And that includes financial goals.
Yeah, seriously. So it all starts with that initial conversation. It's scary, but if you're able to be open with your partner, and generally if the person actually like loves and cares about you, they're not going to mind that you're having the conversation with them. They may actually really appreciate that you are. So just taking a breath and a step to talk about your goals and dreams, where you want to be 5-10 years from now, what do you want to save up for, it can really strengthen your relationship and get you both excited about the future and taking actionable steps to achieve all your goals.
Yeah. And being able to reassess as stuff happens, right? So, like, sometimes the dynamic will change. Whoever was making more money in the start of the relationship might suddenly be the one making less money, depending on situations. So, have the ability to pivot and have those conversations anytime there's any kind of financial change needed, I think is super important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when Kalani and I got together, we both had our separate bank accounts. We never really worried about each other's bank accounts or talked about it until we actually wanted to be better with our finances. And we would take our classes together, but still keep our things separated, which was pretty helpful because now we could just educate ourselves as individuals first, and then later down the road, when we do have a big purchase like a house, then maybe we'll be able to combine our finances so we can show more income coming in and utilize it to our advantage to pay off our mortgage and things like that quicker together. And it's just a way more powerful experience when you're in a relationship.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of keeping bank accounts separated. But there is benefit of combining them as well. But regardless, like I think when people hear combine, they think that you have to combine everything. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with you both still having your own bank accounts and a joint one where all the household bills, or money for the household bills goes into, right? And I think, 10, 15 years ago, that was an issue for a lot of people because they assumed like, oh, this other person has a bank account that I don't know about. Like they're planning on leaving me, like blah, blah, blah. I think now that conversation is completely different, which is good. And I think it's very, very important, especially when, like we've talked about, if one person's a spender and one person is a saver. A lot of people go into like the love language stuff and whatnot. I don't care about that kind of stuff. But I know the way certain people's brains work is if they're making money or if they're saving money for a long-term goal, they get to a point where they're not anywhere close to that goal, but their brain freaks out and is like, well, if I'm making all this money and not doing anything with it, why am I doing this? And so like some people literally have to have like those smaller gifts or, purchases for themselves along the way so that they can actually understand that it's for something versus like someone like me who hates spending money, who like I won't shop for myself for 3 years if it means I get my end goal. So understanding that people's brains work different when it comes to money as well is really, really important. And that's where, again, those open and honest conversations come really, really important.
Yeah, definitely. Another factor could be one couple is like has a bunch of debt, credit card debt, student loans, things like that. I remember getting with Kalani, and I mean, we both were in debt when we got together, but I couldn't imagine like if one of us had no debt and then the other one had debt, then definitely I'd suggest having separate accounts and not having the other person pay for your debt. That can really build some resentment in a relationship, I believe, because you're paying off your partner's debt with your own hard-earned money. I don't know. And some people end up getting caught up in that and just start to really resent their partner.
Yeah, and it kind of depends on like where you're at in the relationship and whatnot too, right? Like if it's a conversation that you're having before going into marriage, then that's one thing. Like you're assimilating, for better or worse, whatever that person has, and that does often include baggage of any kind, financial, emotional, etc. But if you're just starting to date someone and like you're moving in for the first time, and maybe it's 6, 9 months, and you're talking about combining bank accounts, like that's not a good idea.
Yeah, I think there should be just the communication and
Yeah.
any baggage coming into a marriage or a long-term relationship, just having a mutual understanding of where each other are at and what they need to do to fix their personal lives, but also balance and also still enjoy their life with their partner. It's a fun balancing act, that's for sure.
Yeah. And that's kind of the benefit of having a person who's a spender and a person who's a saver, because the spender is going to be, splurging on little things here and there, and the saver is going to splurge on that big vacation at the end of the year. So it's, even if you have opposite views, it's not necessarily that the relationship won't work out. It's just that the non-spender has to understand that the spender maybe, like, again, for neurological reasons, needs to make those purchases. But the spender needs to realize that just because the saver isn't buying them little gifts all the damn time doesn't mean that they don't care about them. It's a different dynamic. It's a different way of showing they care about you. And so again, it's important to understanding just what is important to the other person.
Yeah, and another powerful tool to help with money stress in a relationship would be budgeting. We love budgeting.
Always.
Always what we're talking about, but it's so important. So Kalani and I recently created a budget for things like groceries and whatnot because our goal is to purchase a home. So we need to save some money. But it was really nice to actually sit down and talk about, because we track each of our own individual weekly spending every week, and we also budget in our own half of groceries every week. So just getting together, seeing how much we spend on groceries, and then seeing if we could cut down a bit on that. It honestly brings you closer together as a couple when you're on the same page and can talk about money and your spending together, which then turns into we're saving up for the end goal, which is our house. And it's not easy, but it's
necessary.
Yeah, it's necessary.
Yeah, groceries is such a big one too, because like growing up, I lived in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, growing up, and so like we went grocery shopping every 2 weeks, and it was, drive into town, which was a 30-minute drive, and get groceries for 2 weeks. And a lot of that was, we had a list, and if it wasn't on the list, we didn't get it, and monitored it that way. And what I've been doing, because one, I need to budget, and two, I hate grocery shopping in general, I use Imperfect Foods. And the nice thing about Imperfect Foods is you know exactly what you're getting because you're ordering it in advance. So like I do my shopping on, Friday evening or Saturday night. It gets delivered to my door on Tuesday sometime during the day, but I already know what I'm spending because I can see it before I've finalized it. Because, our biggest grocery expense is the dogs because we feed raw, which is still cheaper than if we were feeding dog food. So it's not like it's a huge deal. Knowing what their food is going to cost, and then knowing how I can adjust my budget with Imperfect Foods and not have to worry about, surprises at the checkout or anything like that, has been a game changer and a lifesaver.
Yeah, definitely. That's actually a good point to bring up. Like any online grocery shopping, I think I've shopped at Fry's on their website a few times, but yeah, I love that you can know exactly what you're spending, as well as you see coupons like instantly, and
yeah,
the World Wide Web is amazing.
Right. Well, and it takes out the like, oh, I'm on the way to the register, but like, oh, there's this here. Like, oh, there's a sale on this, even though sale doesn't always mean cheaper.
Impulse.
And so like it takes out a lot of that, like the psychological things they do in store to make you buy more. It completely takes that out, which is really good for people who like have really bad impulse control or anything like that.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because sometimes one partner could continually make impulse buys, which causes rifts in the relationship. You're like, I guess I have kind of that problem. If I'm walking around the store and I'm really hungry, or I see something, I'm just like, ooh, like I want this. And then Kalani has to tell me like why? Like, why do you want it? I'm like, I don't know. I just want it.
Right.
And then he kind of like talks me through it. I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess I really don't need it, and let's leave it alone. Which
Yeah.
is helpful.
I see. What's so funny is that wouldn't work for me because I hate being questioned with a passion. And so, like, if I'm in a grocery store and I'm like, oh, I want that, someone's like, well, why do you want that? I'd be like, are you writing a book? Like, what do you care? Like, I would get so defensive. And I know that's about myself. Like, I've never liked being questioned. I never will. And it automatically irritates me.
Yeah.
So interviews are fun.
Right. I'm like, and you'll probably end up buying it as out of spite.
Exactly. Yeah, I would. 100% would.
Yeah. No, I don't
But again, understanding the different like neurological impulses that drive people.
Yeah, exactly. It's just communication. Communication is key, and it shouldn't be scary, especially if it's somebody you want to spend your life with. Like,
yeah,
I see so many couples struggle with the communication aspect, and like you hear both sides and you're like, okay, why don't you just tell them how you're feeling? And it seems like the most difficult task ever. And then if it's difficult for you to talk to your partner about money or life or goals, then I don't think you're a good fit. I think it's time to move
Or
on.
get
Yeah,
third party help, right?
yeah, get some
Like
help, that too.
there's always the like, oh, we're going to marriage counseling stigma, but it's like, well, clearly you guys aren't doing it like talking enough on your own, so like it's fine. Like
Mhm,
stop stigmatizing this crap. Like if it's just gonna save your marriage, then cool. Like one
mhm,
of the problems that we have is like I am not a reactive person, so I hate getting gifts because people always expect like that reaction and like it's just I'm not that person.
mhm,
Um but so my brain goes, well, I hate getting gifts, so I'm not going to give gifts either. And so like I'm not a big gift giver. Like I'm a minimalist. I think spending money on like stuff is dumb. I'd rather spend it on experiences. My significant other, however, like he's amazing at giving gifts. Like he's given me the best gifts I've ever received. I'm like, oh god, you're really good at this game. Like I really suck at this game,
mhm,
and like I know he wishes I was better at it, but in my mind, like any kind of spend, even if it's like him buying me something with his own money, it stresses me out because I'm like, we have long-term goals. Why are you wasting money on this stuff? But it's not my money to be concerned about. And so we have to work through that dynamic constantly,
mhm.
but we're working through it. So we've talked about it. But it took a couple of years for us to get to the point of being able to talk about it. So
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I'm the same way. I am not a gift giver. I'm an experience giver, I guess, and haver.
yeah.
But Lonnie and I, like his family, like back on Maui, they're great gift givers too. Every birthday, Christmas, and we're just like, oh man, like when the holidays come, we're just like lost or we don't know what to do. We usually end up just giving a card with money, because that's that's all I want for like holidays and Christmas. If anyone wants to get me things, like I'll take some money and do with it what I want.
Yeah.
But like gifts and physical items that just take up space, get used once, like it's not for me either. Or Kalani really, but he's more of a gift giver than I am. He's given me gifts more so than I have to him. And you shouldn't feel bad about it or anything. But I know some people that causes some stress in itself because they're getting gifts bought for them. And then they're like, oh my gosh, I need to buy them something. And then you're overspending your budget and putting yourself into a ugly financial situation that could have been avoided. But again, it's your
Yeah.
mindset and being strong enough to figure it out.
Yeah. Or you're not doing those things because you're focusing on something else, and then you're having to deal with the repercussions of them being upset that you're not doing those things. So
Yeah.
it's, I mean, it can go either way. And that's again, it goes back to like have that open conversation.
Mhm.
Be emotionally intelligent enough to disconnect the emotion from it.
Mhm.
And like, don't take it personal. Like so many people take things personal that shouldn't be taken personal. And I think that happens a lot in relationships of like, oh, well, you should have known better. Like you should have, and like we've all done it. Like I've done it and, guarantee I've done it. But, and that's why like being in a relationship with me sucks because I'm the kind of person who's like, I'm mad, but I don't know if I'm mad at you or what I'm perceiving you're doing. So let me figure out what I'm really mad about and then I'll get back to you. And like a week later, I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, when you do this, this upsets me. And they're like, that was like a last week thing. And I'm like, yeah, but like, I didn't know if I should be mad at you or not. Now I know that I'm mad at you and I'm telling you I'm mad at you so you can fix it. And they're like, why didn't you just tell me at the time? Like, because I didn't know.
Yeah. No, it's important to think about your feelings before you just blow up on your partner because there are some times where, especially with when it comes to money, you want to blow up on your partner because money stresses us out, stresses you out, stresses me out, stresses everybody out in their own ways.
Yeah.
And when we're stressed out, we think irrationally most times. So taking a moment to breathe and think about what is causing you to feel upset or frustrated before bringing it to your partner, that saves a lot of time and energy as well and straining the relationship, but also moving past these issues and coming up with solutions that'll better both of you.
Yeah.
And also, like, a big thing is there's some couples who one person is the breadwinner, and like that causes feelings of like you don't have control, I guess, of your money, and that causes a lot of strain on a relationship. So if you are the breadwinner of your relationship, don't always rub it in your partner's face, or like if your partner wants a nice vacation for once or whatever, like try not to make them feel bad about wanting things, even though it's your money that they're spending it on. Like, again, just having a conversation and not taking all that control can be pretty helpful.
Yeah. That's hard. When you're the one making the money, you have a different perspective than when you're the one not making the money. And I know because I've been in both positions. So like I went from making $90,000 a year to making $30,000 a year. Significant change, right? When I was making $90,000 a year and like we wanted stuff, I was like, yeah, it's money, we'll make more, like let's do it. And now I'm like, no, we have bills to pay, we have dogs to take care of. We didn't have the dogs back then either, so like all of our money was ours. Like now a lot of the money goes to dogs. Not that I'm complaining, I love them. But it's changed the dynamic, So he'll be like, oh, like you used to just have this, like, oh, well, we'll make more money mentality. I'm like, yeah, because we were making double what we're making now. Like, I could afford to have that mentality. We can't afford that mentality right now.
Yeah.
And so then as I started, like investing in my business and like getting that up and going, then like we're kind of getting to the point that it's like, okay, well, yeah, we can afford to splurge here. We can afford this. We can afford this. But there was a while where it was like, just stop buying stuff. Like, I don't care. Like, you don't need another bike. You don't need bike parts. Like, knock it off. But again, it was his money. So it was like, I need to just shut up because that's nothing to do with me. And so I was scrimping and saving as much as I could to build my business, which was exactly what he was doing with like the stuff he was buying. And so I had to kind of put it into perspective.
Yeah, that's a good point. And also, like, just adjusting to life circumstances. You're not going to be able to spend money the way you spend money forever. Like, things happen, the economy goes to crap, or you lose your job, or whatever. There's so many things that happen, and you need to be ready to adjust and learn to spend less or earn more, whatever it is that works for you and your lifestyle and what you want to achieve. And
Yeah.
communicating.
Yeah, and honestly, like if I hadn't have lost my job and been in that position, like I never would have taken the steps to build multiple streams of income or, want to teach people to build multiple streams of income. Like I wouldn't be where I am today if that hadn't happened. And, I'm not the kind of person who's gonna be like, well, if that hadn't happened, this is where I would probably be because like I don't care. It happened, it's done. Like I'm not gonna sit here and go, well, what if this and what if that? Just you gotta just take, roll with the punches, take life as it is and adjust accordingly. And don't get bogged down in the like, well, if I'd done this or if this had happened, who cares? Like focus on now, don't focus on the past.
Yep, it happened, and then we just keep moving forward. So don't be afraid to dream big with your partner and talk about things that you both want to do or live. Like if you want to go on trips, if you want to buy a house, just talk about it and talk about actionable steps to support each other for the growth and creating a budget, starting a savings plan, and most importantly, celebrate celebrate when you do achieve those goals, even if it's both of you saving $500. If you both saved $500, go out to dinner, like do something fun together and enjoy it and be grateful that you achieved a goal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Celebrating the small wins is definitely worth it. And not to contradict you, but like you don't have to go to dinner. Like go on a celebratory hike. Or like do something that you've been planning on doing but haven't done. Like it doesn't have to be a financial spend to celebrate it. Because like if you're like me who hates spending money, like you're like I'm like, wait, I just saved $500. Now you want to go spend 100 on dinner? Like what are you talking about? Right? Whereas for me, I'd be like, cool, let's play hooky and go to the lake. Like let's just take a day and go to the lake. Like let's do that. So whatever it is for you,
Absolutely. Yeah, whatever you both enjoy doing, do it together. It's just something fun because we know it's stressful getting your finances on track and saving money. It's not easy and it's difficult. So it's important, especially in a relationship, to have those moments where you're happy and having fun and not worrying about your money and things.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And for those of you that are currently in relationships or thinking about getting in a relationship, I hope you have a more open mind and are feeling confident that you can talk about finances and things with your partner and get started on achieving all your financial goals.
Yes. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. Next week, we're going to flip the script a little bit, and I'm going to talk about AI in business. I know it's a controversial topic right now, so I want to talk about how you can use it to further your business, things you probably shouldn't be doing to help further your business, and why it's such an uproar right now.
Oh, yeah. AI is sexy.
Can be.